Hello everyone, welcome to this Total War Warhammer 2 live battlecast. In this game, guys, we're going to be playing the High Elves, and we are indeed facing off against our evil, edgy brethren, the Dark Elves. So for our Lord, we're going to go with the Melee Specialist Prince, and he's going to be on the Big Star Dragon. So I want to get the Star Dragon just in case my opponent does bring Malekith. I want to be able to really kind of duel him in the skies and force him to constantly be on the run. On top of that, I have gone with the Mage with the High Magic, and for the spells, we do have Apotheosis, which is going to be really good for keeping the Prince alive. On top of that, I'm going to try Tempest. So Tempest can only hit flying units. However, if Malekith is up in the air and he's thinking he can run away from me, you can Tempest him, and it actually locks him in place and does damage. It can be very powerful if he does bring a Flying Lord. Arcane Forging, single target DPS spell. It also lowers their cooldowns, which is also good against dark magic. And we do have the Fiery Convocation. So you guys are probably wondering, how am I going to cast all these abilities? I do have the Starwood Staff, which greatly improves our power reserves, and then the Book of Hoeth, which is going to improve our power recharge rate. So I'm hoping those two abilities can get the job done. Got White Lions mixed with Swordmasters of Hoeth in the front line to hopefully win the front line engagement. And they're definitely, High Elf infantry are a little bit more effective than Dark Elf infantry. Granted, Dark Elves have so many other tools, but the infantry fight, I think, definitely favors the High Elves. We've got some Illyrian Reavers for a Vanguard deployment to go after Reapers and Archers, some Dragon Princes. So this is a bit of an experimentation. I don't know if it's going to work, but what I want to do is slam them in the front line and run over Blackheart Corsairs and things like that. And we also do have a Flamespire Phoenix. So the Phoenix is going to be a really good support tool with my Prince in the air. I'm hoping that those two together can kind of have superiority over the skies. And the Phoenix does have bombs. It doesn't seem to do terribly well against armored infantry, but it doesn't hurt either. I mean, it does a little bit of splash damage, and it's mainly just to have a flying unit that has 120 speed that can ensure I can win against Malekith. Because there is a chance that Malekith, if he focuses very heavy with his dark magic on my Prince, could win that fight, and I'm pretty sure he could actually if he was like using Soul Stealer and things like that. So I want to make sure it's like a 2v1 situation that is going to be advantageous for me. So this is a bit of an interesting map. I wonder where he starts. Is this actually like a swamp or a bog? Oh, this is actually kind of cool. So if you guys have seen the Aquatics tooltip on the Lizardmen, they actually have like a bonus where they don't get penalized for fighting in the water in the swamps, if I'm not mistaken. So you could have a bunch of skinks, I guess. If you were on this map, guys, special skink tactics, you could deploy down in the swamp, force the fight in the forest, and you wouldn't be penalized, which would be pretty funny. I don't know if it's really worth doing. I mean, skinks are okay. I use skinks more so for like a flanking unit, so going up and around and pressuring the missile units, not so much as a frontline piece, but you can. I've seen some builds that people have brought on ladder where they bring like a ton of skinks, so their entire front line is just like skink infantry, and then they bring big dinos, because again, skinks are dirt cheap. They cost like 300 or 400 or something, if I'm not mistaken. So I really like the chameleons too, the ones with the blow darts. Those guys are awesome. They have Vanguard, they also have dodge, so I think they have 40% resistance against missiles, which is really big. So they can actually take skirmisher fire and then poison the high value targets. So let's see how this goes. And guys, I promise I'll eventually experiment with some archer builds with the High Elves, but I don't know, I didn't want to do it in this matchup. Granted, it might have been a good counter against the Dark Shards and things like that, but I saw this was like a very forested map, and I didn't want to kind of risk being obstructed by missiles or by the trees and things like that. So I decided to go with this build. So let's put the Dragon Princes a little bit farther back. We really have to make sure they avoid the Dark Shards, because Dark Shards with their AP damage will really wreck those guys. So let's get our riders, and oh, this is actually a nice Vanguard over here. Can we get in this corner? Oh, can we do it? He's gonna see us though. That's the problem. So maybe we scurry in here right away. Hopefully he doesn't look at his mini map. Let's hope for it, because we're gonna be kind of rushing him anyways. So maybe we can kind of take his attention off the backside by like pushing down the hill really aggressively. I mean, I don't mind fighting in the pits. I'd rather not fight in the swamp. Yeah, I wish I could actually see what the penalties are. So I think it's like a 20% penalty on some of your stats. I really got to look into that. It's something I never really kind of looked into in Total War Warhammer 1. Granted, there were some swampy maps, but so Dragon Princes, these guys, I wish they had like an anti-infantry bonus or something, or anti-large. I mean, they have really good combat stats. These aren't accurate. So when the fight starts, they're going to get plus 12 or 8 melee attack and plus 12 melee defense. So they'll be really jacked in terms of their combat stats. And they do beat a lot of elite cav head to head, but they are very expensive too. They have a ward save against physical of 25%. I could have sworn that was 30 in the pre-release build, but maybe they changed that. But yeah, I'm really hoping he gets Malekith so we can actually Tempest him in the air and then just kind of like swarm him with our Star Dragon and all that other good stuff. Malekith's a monster. His cone attacks and some of the DPS abilities that he has in the Lore of Darkness are so good against my infantry, so I really need to make sure to kind of crack down on that. But Apotheosis is such a good ability. Healing, and it also imbues fear, so it's pretty good. Like, you can honestly cast it on like one of your frontline troops as well and imbue them with fear, which can be very helpful in a matchup. So let's get in the woods real quick and start waddling over here. We'll get our dragons and all those other goodies. So he has Bleak Swords. Oh, Blackheart Corsairs. So our front line is going to massacre his right now from the looks of things. He does have 2 Executioners, both of whom will lose to the White Lions, or to the Swordmasters. And the White Lions will trade evenly, but obviously they're higher tier infantry than the Swordmasters. So he does have that Reaper Bolt Thrower here. So we're just going to kind of wait in the shadows and, eventually go after that with our Vanguard cap. So Let's pull over here, and I definitely want to get my Star Dragon Fire right on top of those Harganeth Executioners, because those are really the only things he has that can contest my front line. So let's go ahead and do that. And high magic, is there anything we can do? He does have Malekith on foot, so very smart, expecting the Goon Squad. And yeah, man, I was hoping Malekith would be up in the air. I really wanted to kind of go after him. So I do see some Cold One Knights over here, and I think these guys are hidden. Are they? Are they hidden? I'm not sure. It looks like he is kind of reacting here, so I'll keep like following here and see what we can find. I think he has like a very heavy infantry type army, so let's go. Yeah, let's just go right now. We're close enough, and we might as well start pressuring. So I don't want to take this fire for free. So let's go ahead and pop this on the Executioners here. We're going to fly the Phoenix over and start dropping some bombs. And we honestly could bomb on top of those Cold One Riders, but it looks like he might be able to intercept us, which is going to be tough. So let's go. Let's get these guys on the high ground one, and the Phoenix can go ahead and start dropping some bombs here. Yeah, we can drop on some spears. They're pretty cheap infantry. Look at that damage. Wow. That's really huge. Okay, so well, we might slip past him right now. I think we're going to, but that was good. I mean, we decimated that one group of units completely, essentially. So let's get on those Executioners with that Flame Breath. We get on the one Reaper Bolt Thrower, and we'll do a bit of a cross engagement here, which is going to be good. Oh, look at that damage. That's so good. So we get on that, but let's go ahead and run up the hill here. And I think he was watching the Phoenix when I came by with those guys, so I think that was partially why that went so well. So we'll get those on the Corsairs. We'll get these guys right here. These guys can go right here, and these guys can go right here. All right, great. So let's pull these guys away right now, because it's not going to go well for them if they keep staying and fighting. So, oh, there's a big blob right here. We might actually be able to go and drop some bombs. So let's cut back across here real quick and drop some bombs. And good. Oh, yes. I kind of missed that second one. It was a little bit underwhelming. But let's bring the Prince in the back line to avoid the artillery pieces. We're going to cast Apotheosis on my Prince to also heal him up. He's a little bit tattered. And the Dragon Princes can go and just kind of, honestly charge down like right against these Bleak Swords in the front line, which I think is going to be pretty strong. So frontline engagement's underway. We're just kind of wait with the Phoenix for an opportunity to strike, and we do have this Flame Breath again, so let's go ahead and cast that on those. I don't want to like roast my own troops, so what do we get? Yeah, I guess we can get the Blackguard and Nagaron. Those guys will be a pretty good choice. And on top of that, we do have the Fiery Convocation, so we can go ahead and see if he's paying attention here. If he's not, we might get some damage. I don't know, we'll find out. So just gonna sit in the air a little bit right now. We can go ahead and try and clip this bottom formation. But the problem is he's waiting. Oh no, he's watching. I never land that ability. It always like misses because it takes so long to cast. I mean, you saw it. It looks cool and all, but so we land down there. Oh, that did some damage to the flank. So now we'll just kind of pull back here. Dragon Princes are smashing against some of these Executioners, which is good. Let's get back up in the air. And the Phoenix, we can just have start fighting in the front line, to be honest, but we need to get our Prince up in the air. So as far as other magic abilities, let's go ahead and pop these abilities right here to kind of get our Winds of Magic going again. And we do have this Flame attack, so let's actually try and roast those Cold Ones. And yes, our Executioners were able to push past those Bleak Swords and other units right there, which is good. And let's get these Swordmasters up and around. So yeah, I feel like it's going pretty well so far. So yeah, look at that damage. Look at the damage. So Malekith does use a pretty nice ability right there, doing some good deeps to us. And do we have anything we want to heal with Apotheosis? These guys are a little bit low, so let's go ahead and heal them and get these guys kind of a little bit juiced up. And we're going to land on those Cold Ones because even though they do have anti-large and armor piercing, we have support right now, so it should be fine. So let's kind of keep pushing up the hill. And yes, they've rampaged. That's exactly what we wanted. So in the front, the Dragon Princes are kind of just riding through really aggressively. The front line engagement, our flank on the north is getting collapsed a little bit, so let's get the Phoenix up here and let's get this Prince kind of out and over. You can see he does have a Khanate Assassin, so he can actually use trophy heads and do some really good work. So we're going to get the Phoenix to fly up here and drop some bombs, which should be good. So 1 and 2, and that's it. It doesn't do so much damage against the armored target. So we're going to fly up here, get ready to do some Dragon Breath, and let's pull our Dragon Princes out and get ready to use some of those juicy abilities. So we'll use Arcane and Forging on Malekith, which is going to add to his cooldowns, and you can see we do have the Dragon Breath, so let's go ahead and pop that right on the back of these Executioners. I hope it doesn't friendly fire us too much. We'll find out in just a second. But we're bringing the Dragon Princes up and over, and I think that was mostly, we did damage to the targets we wanted to hit. And Illyrian Reavers, man, I was so slow on getting those guys back in. But regardless, they're going to be fighting again, which is good. And we do have Apotheosis, so let's go ahead and use that on the Prince. And yeah, we're collapsing this northern flank pretty hard here. So balance of power is pretty even right now, but if we can get these Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers with the Illyrian Reavers, that's going to be huge. So let's pull our Prince back out. We don't want him taking any unnecessary damage. And the Dragon Princes are up on the hill here. Yes, this is good. So now we can charge them down and go crush his artillery, essentially. So we can try and snipe this Assassin right now. I think that's probably going to be a good choice. We do have two very powerful units. Swordmaster is still fighting on the low ground, and those cav charges are going to be very good against these artillery pieces. So yes, Illyrian Reavers, get in there. He does have Black Guard though, so we don't want to be messing with them. They're pretty much an anti-cav specialist. So let's just pull back here, wait for the scraps, and we do have our items coming off cooldown here. But yes, we do get that Assassin down, which is going to be really good. Excellent, excellent. This is going well. So let's pull back right now. We got to get away from those guard, and Malekith is kind of exposed here. So let's actually see if we can, get all three of these units and go after Malekith. So we got to make sure to pop those. Swordmasters of Hoeth still just holding the line, doing an excellent job. We do have our Dragon Princes here. Is there any troops we can push off? Yeah, he has 13 Executioners there. So we'll pull back, and then you can see he's going to commit to the front line, probably wanting to save Malekith. don't want to let that slide. So let's actually go finish off these executioners here with our dragon and other buddies there. And we do have apotheosis, so let's go ahead and heal the prince. Very important to keep him alive. I don't want the bounce of power to shift too heavily. And yeah, we're able to clean those guys up, which is good. So let's slam into the back of these bleak swords and get these dragon princes kind of coming down here. Because if we can break this, we have 37 Hoeth swordmasters there. We're going to be able to do pretty well for us. So come on, let's break those executioners. That's going to be huge. And then we'll kind of just run them over here. Just keep cleaning up. We don't want to engage those Blackguard and Nagaron until we have our swordmasters back. So we do have additional white lines coming back. So let's get those guys engaged here. Pull the prince and the princess. Well, I guess that's not a princess. It's my caster. So we're going to go ahead and use that. But oh man, she actually broke. So that's unfortunate. So Malekith's, he's getting a little bit nasty over here. I'm not going to lie. My opponent does have a nice little kind of Helm's Deep force. And is there anything else we can kind of clean up here? Let's try and get Malekith, because he has a very slow army, so the Swordmasters of Hoeth can go engage against this blob, which is going to kind of obstruct him a little bit. And the Phoenix, let's go get this Khanate Assassin. He hits pretty hard. We don't want him back online. So let's check for routing troops. I don't think we have any right now. I think everyone's kind of rallying back to the battlefield, and this is going to be great. We have a lot of pretty powerful dudes coming back here. So pop stand your ground. Hopefully this high magic caster does come back, and it looks like this Khanate Assassin. Oh yeah, we knocked him away. Yes, knock him away from the battle. We don't want him using his trophy heads. Oh, he already used it, the Assassin's Trophy. So it's going to mitigate my stats pretty heavily. Lowers my melee attack and melee defense, but Star Dragons are so juiced that it's pretty much like he's still going to be a monster. So we're going to pull back. We got to avoid those Blackguard and Nagaron. We cannot afford to take that damage, and we can go ahead and pop this, which is going to help our power reserves, essentially allowing us to start recharging again. And the Phoenixes, we can go ahead over here, and you can see my infantry corps is able to actually beat back these Dark Elves. So now I have these Swordmasters of Hoeth and the White Lions, and all these dudes who are going to come back in and get a little bit crazy right now. I wish I had some breath still. So okay, so we're going to go in here and just go for it. We're just going for broke right now. So we're going to go with the Phoenix in there and basically just charge Malekith, because our Swordmasters are going to beat the Blackguard. Let's make sure to charge into the back here, and we do have this ability, which is going to make us 1 per 6, which is pretty crazy like this late in the game. So we need to get in here. We need to start doing some damage. I think we got this. The bounce of power is starting to tilt in our favor. Doesn't look like my opponent has too much coming back, and we do have our cav on the high ground, so let's actually go and make sure we chase these guys down and just kind of seal the deal, because 12 executioners could honestly help. Malekith does not want to be dueling a Star Dragon. Apotheosis on the prince, healing him up. He already causes fear and terror, so the fear isn't really pertinent, but nonetheless it's going to be useful. So yeah, a little bugginess from the dragon, trying to find his home and land and actually fight Malekith. And you can see we're cleaning up the scraps here in the back. A lot of these guys are shattering, so let's go clean these guys up. And man, what an incredibly close fight. Very well played by my opponent. So we're able to take it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the army breakdown here. So yeah, the White Lions and the Swordmasters of Hoeth, just MVPs. Those Swordmasters are so darn good. I mean, they have like 50 melee attack almost, and almost 50 melee defense on a great sword unit, which is pretty incredible. So they were able to stand and fight and pretty much out-trade all of the frontline infantry. You can see they greatly outperformed those executioners. Granted, we were breathing fire and all that kind of good stuff on the top of them. The Dragon Princes actually did okay. Like, they slammed into that front line and were able to break one of the pockets. One mistake I did make is I didn't protect my northern flank, like up on the hill, and he was able to collapse my top flank and then push down the hill and kind of like start grinding me out, which was pretty tough. The Eagle Claw, or his Reaper Bolt Throwers, did some okay damage as well, but thankfully I did have the cav to kind of harass those guys and shut them down, so that was pretty decent. But the what's it called, the Khanate Assassin, or the Khanate Assassin, I think that's how you would say it. The trophy heads thing was definitely pretty good. It was scary, but we were able to kind of goon him out pretty early with the Star Dragon and the Phoenix. But yeah, I want to experiment with some missile builds. But I mean, even in this build, like, what would my missiles have done in this matchup? Like, the Bleak Swords have armor, the Blackheart Corsairs have like 80 armor, the Harganeth Executioners have 110 armor. These guys had shields, these guys have tons of armor. It's just like, I feel like in this matchup, there's not a lot of good targets for the archers. And I think it's better to just, get the Swordmasters of Hoeth, get a Phoenix and a Dragon to just kind of go after the high value targets, and, perhaps some cav to harass and things like that. But very well played my opponent, Talus. Look forward to running into you again on ladder. That was an awesome game, man. Awesome game. So, guys, we got a lot more content coming soon. And also, let me know what races you guys want to see. I know it's a little bit of time before the old world does come back, since we get to see our proud Dawi. But if there's any, matchups you guys want to see, or, anything that I'm kind of neglecting on my channel a little bit, please let me know. So, thanks again for watching, guys. Have an excellent night, and take care.